You know that feeling when your favorite brand really gets you? Deliver that feeling to your customers every time. Memorable moments like these are key to building your business and your brand. Klaviyo turns your customer data into real-time connections across AI-powered email, SMS, and more, making every moment count, so you can continue to build smarter, more meaningful relationships with your customers. Build smarter digital relationships with your customers and make every moment count with Klaviyo. Learn more at klaviyo.com/BFCM.
What a week. Our cups runneth over, and I am not just talking about these bosomy tank tops.
I know that everyone says like they can't distinguish whose voice is whose of ours, and like we, like, oh, you guys are the same person. Ha ha ha. Like we truly are wearing the exact same outfit, a black tank top and like a chain, and I helped you pick out your chain.
It just happened organically. Like now we're wearing a uniform when we do this podcast.
Yes, for no reason.
We're just in black tank tops. Merch will be forthcoming, but it's just black tank tops now.
It's always the same.
I'm one beard and a time machine away from being Chris.
Yeah, it really is something. But
listeners,
yeah.
What to even say about this week? Both of our heroes had bombshells, but I have to defer to Chris's because obviously his heroine is the story of the week.
I mean, I have so much to say about the opening ceremony of the Olympics, most of which negative. Mm-hmm. However, I mean, Celine Dion showing up on the Eiffel Tower, the restaurant level, as Dominick keeps saying to me.
It's not the top.
Yeah. Delivering the performance of a lifetime on the world stage. And before I go any further, let me just say, Lady Gaga, take notes.
Chris, I have one question for you.
Yes.
A serious question. Are you gay? I had two issues. First was I kept getting alerts that Celine was at the top of the Eiffel Tower. She was not. She was in the restaurant level.
That was
still
simply
impressive.
A lie.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, obviously they couldn't have shot her at top, but please stop lying to me. And number two, actually a 1.5 would be the performance was the most emotional performance at an Olympics I had ever seen. It
Correct.
is like, it is in the top 5 goosebumpy things she has ever done beyond.
Sure.
However, why did they light this woman like Nosferatu? What was I looking at?
Dominick, that is my note across the entire opening ceremony. I mean, let's talk about Celine for another 2 seconds and then we'll get into it. But she sounded great. She's stiff as hell, but she's still,
Jesus Christ.
She's stiff as hell, but she's still living and she looked great.
Well, we didn't think she'd be breakdancing. I'm surprised she even showed up at all. It was pretty amazing.
She's there. She was singing great, sounded amazing, killed it.
Looks beautiful, but was lit improperly.
Beautiful. Lit terribly, but like that par for the course for this fucking broadcast.
Chris is
Song choice, 10 out of 10, because it was like, it needed to be sung by a vocalist with like extreme power in their voice, which she has. And yet there wasn't any like all by myself, like crazy high notes that were supposed to be hit.
Well, she can't do that anymore.
No, she can't. She needed a song that she could do in a good range. They picked the perfect range for her to show off her voice without being like, isn't it crazy that I can sing this high? Like, huge, long, like belting note. She still got to show off her chops. She's back. And yet it was like a song that was like, she could do it. And we weren't worried that she wouldn't be able to hit it.
And it was a song, I can't remember the name of the song, but it's a song that was sung by Edith Piaf, an actual French woman from France. And I'm not knocking Celine, like she's obviously French-Canadian, but I did note that the two biggest billed performers at the opening ceremony were not actually French. I mean, I know Celine speaks French as her first language.
No, but she's Canadian.
Not splitting hairs, but at least she sang a French song. Like that was the biggest. She is the biggest French speaking star, I guess, in the world.
100%.
Who else could you? I mean, who else is on the list? Gerard Depardieu. I mean, he's like molesting people, like professionally.
What is her name? Marion Cotillard or whatever.
Oh, Marion Cotillard! I forgot all about her. Who played Edith Piaf?
But like who? Yeah, like what else are we? Who else?
Where was she at the Olympics? In Kubchak? I didn't see hide nor hair.
No hide nor hair. But that's what I'm saying. Like. Celine is absolutely the most, I mean, French is her first language. It's not like she's not qualified to do it. Is she French? No, but like she is absolutely the most famous French speaking person alive.
Has to be.
100%.
You know, I read one article just so Chris and I have talked about this every day since the actual ceremony. So we will literally bore you with it. But I read one article that stated that the opening ceremonies were absolutely beautiful and a mammoth undertaking, but a horrible show to show on television
and in person
in the rain. But the scope of it was just, it was almost too big, and they really got boned by the rain. And I don't understand why these things always happen at night anyway. I mean, they're always on a tape delay anyway. Do it during the fucking day so we can see everything. They really got screwed with the weather, and they should have been prepared for that. It didn't seem like they were, which is weird.
Okay, so I want to take our time here. This is a fixing within the prefix.
Are you going to do a shot by shot notes edition?
No,
Patreon
but I want to, but I won't. You know what I mean? Like it was too spread out. I didn't like the boats. They were like jizzing over the boats. Like the French people were like fingering themselves to like the boats. Like they were like, it's going to be on a boat. We're going to do something no one's ever done, which is all great press leading up to it.
I'm picturing an entire nation fingering themselves.
Like, no, but they were. They were like
fingering.
They were like, you know what I mean?
They couldn't jerk off. They had to finger themselves.
No, but they were like diddling themselves. There you go. How about that? That's gender non-specific. Like they were diddling themselves to the boats. Like they were, Dominic. They were.
I agree with you.
Then we see these boats. Meanwhile, they're cramming 3 freaking countries on one boat.
Yeah.
I'm like, what did Albania like do to this country that they had to be sandwiched in between 2 other countries?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I didn't like that. It took away from like, you have a stadium full of spectators that like, even if it's just that one guy from Tonga who's like always shirtless and oiled up and like decides to like become an Olympian. He's beautiful. He's so hot. He should be a model first and foremost.
Mm-hmm.
Like forget all the Olympian, but like, even if it's just that one man from Tonga and there's not one Tongan person in the audience, like an entire stadium erupts in applause for this one man who walks in to represent his country. Do you know what I'm saying?
And what happened was he was lost on the Trinidad boat?
He was there, but like we didn't have this thunderous applause that you hear through the stadium as you're watching it. You just see a boat going by, and then there's like this country, and then this country, and then I thought the boats was the worst part of it. And then on top of it, it's raining. So the whole point of you watching the countries come in is to see their outfits.
Right.
Like it's the whole point. Am I wrong?
Right. No,
yes, it's to see the people, but like
wearing.
they spend these designers.
That's the only reason I would watch this at all is to see the pageantry, and then I tune out for 2 weeks and come in for the closing. I don't care about all this shit.
Well, now on Peacock, they're just like it's like the prime time where it's just like here's all the parts that if you don't actually care, you want to watch so that you can like talk to people about it, and I just watch that every night, and it's great. It's amazing.
Read the alerts on my phone.
It's amazing.
Even turn the TV
like,
on.
Here's the Olympic gymnastics, the girls. Here we go. Here's Simone. Here's this one. Here's this one. We're good. On to the swimming. Here's this one. Here's this one. Here's this one. We're good. Amazing. Love it. Anyway, I completely understand why I haven't worked in 3 months because they're spending every single dollar they can on this freaking Peacock Olympics, and it's great.
Well, also because you give too many notes, people are afraid to hire you. They feel like it's toxic for the workplace.
And this isn't going to help. The boats were a miss. I want to see the outfits. I don't want to see them in a poncho. If we were in a covered stadium, we would not have the rain situation we had. Like these designers work for like months and months and months to set up these outfits. We don't even get to see them.
Mm-hmm.
The boats aren't fun. It's not fun. Like, and then how many videos have you seen the people put up that were like, I spent 1,600 euros on a ticket to like be on the Seine to like watch this. And like, this is what I saw. And it's just a video of like a boat going by like so far away. And like, a weird like fountain shooting water up. And then it's just like them like waving. And it's like the performances, they're all scattered throughout. Every single shot was from 9 million miles away, zoomed in like 4K times 100 to like get the shakiest shot you've ever seen of someone waving. I just thought it was covered terribly. There were these weird interstitials.
I don't think that there should be any spectators at all at the Olympics. Everyone should just have an even playing field and watch it on television. I cannot imagine going to an event that size and at the end of the day, people saying, wow, that was fulfilling and worth every dime I spent on it. It doesn't look fun at all.
But this one didn't look fun because you were just on the side of a fucking river. When it's
none of it looks fun.
But when it's in a stadium, but again, when it's in a stadium and all these people are coming in, and then there's this humongous Cirque du Soleil type performance that happens, and then Celine Dion and Lady Gaga come out and sing, that's fun. But like,
I don't go to stadiums. They all smell like beer. Okay. I'm not even joking. I'm not. I don't think watching sporting events is fun.
Sure. But going to a concert where you get to see 2 A-list celebrity singers perform is great.
I would see them at Yankee Stadium. Perhaps,
sure. But
if
I'm
I
just
had
saying,
a covered seat.
If you're into this, the whole point of it is you get to, or you're immersed in this culture of everything was off. I don't know. There's people that were like, it was okay. I'm like, okay. I thought it was the worst one that's ever happened, honestly. Minus Celine, obviously.
I was going to say, it's like you're the moment of the year enrobed in the worst moment of the year.
Yes. They had Lady Gaga come out first, which, not French, barely speaks French. She just sings in French.
I'm telling you, my theory is that because Joker 2 is subtitled Folie à Deux, they were like, oh, she is French. Put her in the beginning.
She sang La Vie en Rose in A Star is Born, so we're good to go.
Yep, that's it. These are the qualifications.
And here's why. First of all, she's way too talented to do whatever the fuck that performance was. And I'm a little monster. Like, I've seen her in almost every single tour that she's ever done. I was like, why is she there? This could be a French pop star that we then are all introduced to from this. But instead they're like, and for the French, of people that are so rude and hate Americans, they're, bopping a bunch of Americans out there in front of the world to pretend like they're French. Am I wrong?
I'm not reading anything about it. Funny thing is that we have talked about it, but I'm not seeing anything from the French press about them being angry about it.
No,
I feel like
they're trying to like be under the radar about it and be like, no, it was great. It was great. It was great. I thought it was terribly covered. Is that NBC's fault and not France? Yes. But like, I just thought it was too spread out. They had this woman on the top of the like Capitol building of France singing the national anthem of France, which was again beautiful. But I'm like, she's like 9 million miles away. Like the shot kept being like this woman singing, and then they would zoom out so far to show you that she's like at the top of a building. But I'm like, no, have her be in the fucking stadium singing, and that's cool. I don't know.
It felt like there was no run through.
There was no run through.
It just didn't like a full one where they could be like, this is seeming a little bit too big.
Did you see the can dancers?
It was pretty. It was
Dominic.
I'm trying to be nice because I know it's the national dance, but honestly, it was. Can you not do that again?
Yeah, Leanna Inzerillo, friend of the pod, was watching it with me, and she went, "This is the can't." It was.
I was like, it was racist against French people.
At one point, they were all turned different ways. I was like, "What's happening?"
They'd all met that night.
It was so thrown together. I think they were like the boats. And then when they realized they couldn't like do everything on a boat, it was like, for me, it was a swing and a miss almost the whole way through until Celine came out, honestly.
So for you, it was a Celine and a miss.
A Celine and a miss. Yes, correct. Dear brother.
Oui. Speaking of Lady Gaga, she is engaged, actually, which she announced in France.
Yeah.
To this man who she's been apparently dating for 6 or 7 years.
A long time.
I knew nothing about.
Mm-hmm.
So congratulations to Lady Gaga. She had a big week as well because that Joker 2 trailer was released.
It looks good. I'm not going to lie. I'm firing up Joker 1 so I can finally watch it to like come in knowing what the fucking movie's about for the second one.
I'm not trying to be contrary. I'm not. It didn't look good to me, specifically her.
Why?
I don't know. She didn't. She didn't fit in it to me. He is great. Like Arthur Fleck, this character, they could do 20 movies of him and Joaquin will be given an award every year. I don't know. It didn't look like she fit. I was a little bit nervous.
I don't know. I have faith in her.
Let's see.
I don't know.
I will give her the benefit.
I mean,
of the
you
doubt.
love House of Gucci, so you have no leg to stand on. So
but that's a masterpiece. So I'm not sure what point you're trying to make.
But she's your favorite actor, so I don't know why you're saying she doesn't.
She is. By the way, Rob Schneider, big Olympic story. Rob Schneider is boycotting the Olympics because he thinks those drag queens were doing the Last Supper in the opening ceremony.
Rob Schneider is in like the hot chick Rob Schneider?
Hughes Bigelow. Yes, Rob Schneider wants everyone to know he's boycotting the Olympics.
Okay. Yeah, thank you so much for letting us.
I read someone online say Rob Schneider's boycotting the Olympics the way we've been boycotting his career for 20 years.
Slam.
Not my joke, but a brilliant one.
They just want to, this is the thing. They just want to find anyone to do. This is, in a future episode, we're going to be talking about Sharon Osbourne.
We sure are.
I know I'm jumping into the future. Basically, something that I'm referencing that you all don't know yet. But like, they just need to find someone to give a negative review of something so they can run a story about it being like a travesty. And they had to go all the way to Rob Schneider for it. So if that doesn't tell you something, it should.
Speaking of negative reviews, Chrissy Teigen, who we have not spoken about in quite some time, apparently wore like what is described on Twitter as a blazer with a diaper to the Olympics and was getting like, it just became a trending story about what she was wearing.
She's such an asshole. She's in the Kim Kardashian realm of asshole. Man. Yeah, she's such an asshole. And I love it in a sense. I mean, they're at every event. Like every event, she's there clapping with John and the kids. Like every single one. The only person that's at every event more than them is Snoop Dogg. Snoop Dogg is having the time of his life.
Welcome at all these events. And she walks in and half the people
I'm loving it.
Oh.
Whoever's performing, he's right next to their parents. And they're like having the time of their life because they're like, this is Snoop Dogg. Like, this is like an absolute household legend of a, you know what I mean? I mean, he is a humongous celebrity. You know what I mean?
Before we leave the Olympics, you should know, I don't know if you've seen these photos, but Nicole, the one and only Nicole Kidman, was in Paris this weekend as well and walked a couple of carpets with Sunday Rose, a rare outing with Miss Sunday Rose, her daughter.
No, I mean, the one of the daughters she doesn't talk to?
It's no. Sunday's the one she does talk to. Yeah. Not Isabella Cruz.
Dominic, did you see me almost? Well,
I thought you were going to pass out for real.
Guess who else is there at every event taking photos of people? Tom Cruise. So
he would go to anything.
I didn't even know she was there. I'm nervous for her now. I don't like this.
Because they're in the same city.
They can't run into each other.
They won't.
I'm nervous. Dominic?
It's not. Paris is not Provincetown. You're not going to guarantee you run into somebody. We'll leave that at that. But anyway, her and her daughter are on the red carpet together. She's not yet the spitting image, but she is going to be the spitting image. She's a beautiful 16-year-old girl. And seeing the two of them pose, it made me smile because I just fucking love Nicole Kidman.
Before we leave the Olympics, I have a few more. I promise I'll be quick for all of you.
Okie dokie.
Don't you feel that you learned something about the country during the opening ceremony? Like when we were in England, like we had like a history lesson. In Rio, we saw like Giselle do her final walk. Like, I don't know if the French told anyone what the show was going to be. Because like Kelly Clarkson and Peyton Manning and the other guy who I can't remember his name.
You mean the content of the actual, they didn't tell anybody. Nobody knew. The only reason anyone knew that Gaga and Celine were in it was because they were photographed 2 days beforehand. That was nothing was announced on purpose. They didn't want anyone to know.
It was like, they'd be like, okay, now it looks like they're lighting a torch. Oh, wow. Oh, yeah. Like they had no idea what was coming. Like where usually it's like, and now they're going to do this. And the significance of this is blank, blank, blank. And here's why this country does this. They truly and clitorally had no idea what was going on. And everyone's like, Kelly Clarkson okay? And I'm like, no, but it's clear that she hasn't been prepped on anything that is going to happen.
No,
like,
this was not, as we said on our live Zoom the other night, this was not Savannah and Hoda hosting the Thanksgiving Day parade. Like she was working with no materials.
It's such a disservice for the whole thing. I thought it was terrible. And I want so badly to like love it. Like when that French's Biggest Pop Star came out looking like Megan Thee Stallion and like hitting it and she was like dancing and like looked hot as shit and her songs were banging. Like she
should have opened it.
Oh, I wanted her to open it. She's their biggest pop star. I'm like, let me learn who this is. So now I can now like her and listen to her songs and like have a fun time with this person and give her worldwide exposure, not fucking Lady Gaga who doesn't need the press.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Crazy. Okay. I'm Is there anything? Let me scan my brain for 1 second.
Are you sweating? I mean,
I just have so much to say about it. I just have so much because I thought it was so terrible.
I have one more Olympic adjacent story for you, only because it has to do with Celine. And when we think of Celine, we think of Titanic. And when we think of Titanic, we think of me buying you
the Heart of the Ocean,
jewel for your
birthday. You buying yourself the Heart of the Ocean,
which I will give to you when I am done wearing it. Well, if you want to see what it looks like, it's on our Facebook pages and the FFP, Instagram pages and on the FFP Insta page. So while in Provincetown, which is where I bought said jewel, the gentleman that I'm sharing a residence with here wanted to take turns wearing the jewel.
Oh, no.
One in particular, our mutual friend, Seamus,
who PS told me he was going to draw you up on embezzlement charges for buying it on our company card.
I'd like to see him try. I think that the picture I'm about to send you of Seamus, the caption being, draw me like one of your French girls,
I'm not
will
sure.
erase that lawsuit. Look at your phone. I'm texting you right now.
I'm so scared. Oh, my.
Now, I will ask Seamus if we have his permission to put this photo on the Fixing Famous People Instagram page. Listeners, what I will tell you is that it is the Titanic scene where Kate Winslet says, draw me like one of your French girls. Seamus is nude, covering his bits with a pillow. And Seamus's bits are substantial. It's actually a full couch cushion covering his bits. And all he's wearing other than that is the Heart of the Ocean. And
a nipple piercing.
And his nipple piercing, yes, is the only other. So there's 2 jewels. This was the favorite. I'll show you the other 20 that we took the next time we see Seamus at the duplex. It was hilarious. We were about to check out of the house and we remembered that we hadn't done this photo shoot and we were in a panic.
Jesus Christ.
But we got it done and he flew right into character. So sue me now, Seamus. I have these.
Oh
photos.
my God. We have to put this on the internet. I will bully him until allowing us, but it is Jesus Christ in a
Now
cross.
listen, we are 20 minutes into this. This is how much I respect your opinion.
Thank you.
That I waited 20 minutes to tell the world.
Oh, true.
That Cher has announced the first of her 2-part autobiography will be released this fall. Hallelujah!
This is the book we've been waiting for like 2 decades, right?
This is the book we've been waiting. You know, she wrote an autobiography-ish in the late 90s called My First Time. And it was sort of like, it was a little more kitschier and formatty than just an autobiography. But this is the book. I think she split it into 2 parts, not just to double the money because she doesn't need it that badly, but because Barbara Streisand's book.
Why not? Yeah, but also why not?
I think because Barbara's book was so poorly received, I think she was probably like, let's do 2 400-page versions instead of the phone book.
Yeah.
And if Sherilyn Sarkeesian LaPierre Bono Allman does not do the audiobook of this, I will.
No, she has to.
I won't do anything, but I'll just cry. I'll cry until she does it.
But Dominic, that's in the contract for the book. Like, that's not like up to her if she's up for it. Like, that's in the contract. I promise you.
Yeah, and the thing is, too, she's always been so forthcoming about shit. I don't believe that any bombs are going to be dropped in this book, but I just want it to be
I think like
Sherry.
And then this happened, and then this happened, and blah, blah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's all. I don't want her to drop. I don't even need a bomb in it. Like, I just need and then I did this, and then I met Sonny, and then we did this show, and it was crazy. And then blah, blah. Like, I just want her walking through her life. Like,
I need it to be better than every other. I need it to be better than the Cher musical, the ABC movie, every documentary. I need this to be the definitive.
Well,
and she's been working on it for fucking ever because she announced it in 2017. So the fact that we actually are getting it now.
Almost a decade later.
I love
8 years later.
Truly. And I love that both parts are coming out like a few months before the 2 halves of the Wicked movies. So I feel like she's trying to prep the gay world for that.
Which, speaking of, Dominic,
I'm angry. I'm angry about this.
I told you. You didn't know this, but our girls are up to their stuff. They were on that red carpet at the red carpet, quote unquote, like one of the fucking
Erivo,
one of the
Ariana
bridges,
Grande,
yeah, in green and
in pink and green.
Yep.
As we predicted, they are literally going everywhere dressed like that, and will continue doing so until you hate the colors pink and green, and it will happen. Ariana and Cynthia are doing for pink and green what Oprah and Fantasia did for purple last year. That is to say, by year's end, Enough. We get it. We're black.
Know that the minute that this book was released, going back to Cher, the minute that this book drops on the internet, obviously like a million people have probably sent it to you, but they also sent it to me being like, Dominick, like, you know, just like, is Dominick okay? Like, blah, blah, blah. Much like when Celine,
of course,
appeared at the opening ceremony.
We do wellness checks.
Many wellness checks came in on me, and I had to post one to be like, I am okay. Thank you for everyone that checked in, by the way. Many people were like, is Dominick okay? Like, what's going on? And when I tell you that I flew into like being your manager so quickly, I immediately picked up my phone, text Chelsea Devontes, and I said, Dominick will be our guest on this episode. Thank you so much. Period. Send. Like texting Kate Casey, like blah, blah, blah. Like every podcaster that I knew would even touch this book, I was like already pitching you to be the correspondent for this book.
Thank you. Thank you. I am available to appear on all of your podcasts to discuss the Cher book. Get me while I'm hot. You're running out of time.
Yeah, I will be taking 10%. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Pax Jolie. I mean, we are really switching gears here, and this is not a good story. Pax Jolie, I guess, was in an accident. He's in the hospital.
No.
Yeah, he was on his e-bike and he was not wearing a helmet, and there was some sort of incident. He had to get rushed to the hospital yesterday. We do not have a wellness check at the time we are recording this prefix. Hopefully by the time you are listening to it, he is out of the hospital and all that good stuff. I do not have an update. I know that Angelina's there, and I'm almost positive that Brad is not. Of course, this comes during a time when the Angelina saga is like, it's heating up. We firmly believe that there's a shoe going to drop regarding Brad Pitt's reputation at some point this year.
Did you see where she's like, let me out of this court case with the wine?
With the winery.
She's like rearing up to like get him. Like,
because she knows the iron is hot for her there. And I think she's just winking this is a good time for you to get the fuck out of my life.
Yeah. Brad. Like drop this and we'll be okay. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and then we'll just part ways.
The kids will still come forward. But we are, of course, thinking about Pax Jolie, and we will hopefully have some good news about him next week. The Cyrus family. Many things about the Cyrus family. The first of which is we're going to be fixing them all together in an upcoming episode. So check your local listings. Billy Ray Cyrus was trapped in what Chris describes as Mel Gibson style audio.
Is it not?
It is. It is. Talking severe shit about and to his former wife, Fire Rose Cyrus, and calling his daughter Miley the devil and a skank. So Miley's response has been mostly not to respond because apparently she wrote Billy Ray off years ago.
No,
does
a long
not
time
want
ago.
an apology, does not care. And I believe the phrase dead to me is being thrown around.
This is now like Meghan Markle and the sister. Do you know what I mean? Like she's Meghan Markle and the dad is the sister. Do you know what I mean? Like she's like, no, I don't know her. Who is this? Huh? Who said I was a skank? Cool. Like she is so far away from this. It's not even funny.
I know. I feel, before I knew how bonkers they all were, I sort of loved that whole father-daughter thing.
No, sure.
It's gotten so creepy because of so many other elements with the Cyrus family.
No, but that's been gone for a while. Like they haven't had a good relationship in a long time.
Also, in the same week that this goes down, Billy Ray Cyrus goes to a Trump rally. Donald Trump singles him out in the audience and then says in front of the crowd, "You're a conservative guy. How did you get such a liberal daughter?" And I'm like thinking to myself, leave Miley alone this week.
Like,
for God's sakes, give her a day.
Yeah,
give her
and
one
also
day.
like, huh? Like it's just
her dad just called her a skank yesterday, and now today Donald Trump needs to get it. Come on, stop it.
Billy Ray is doing like, I don't even want to say Willie Nelson cosplay because I love Willie Nelson, but like it's like rough and tumble. Like
it's not
like,
even. Do you know Chaka from Land of the Lost? That's who Billy Ray Cyrus is giving you right now. Billy Ray Cyrus needs a comb. He doesn't need to be fixed.
He needs like a haircut and like a cut and wash, like a wash and cut.
I don't fucking believe you even knew who that was. I thought we were going to have to do a Google pause. I can't believe it. I cannot believe that. Cannot believe that.
Oh, God.
Now let's move on to, we have a Britney watch. Chris, will you kick us off?
Okay, before I do so, I have been told by many a listener that you have dropped the "oh baby, baby" part of Britney watch in the recent weeks.
And I'm so sorry.
That needs
I didn't know anyone was paying attention.
Be reinstated.
We'll do that right now. Let's do it right here.
Britney watch.
Oh, baby, baby. Hey, y'all.
Wait, what's happening now with Zila?
Well, the Halsey thing first. We have yet to discuss the Halsey thing.
Well, I've talked about it with you like so many times that I forgot that it
every day since it happened. But there's updates too. I don't even know if you know these updates. The long and the short of it is that Halsey releases a direct ripoff of Britney Spears' song "Lucky." Britney has no idea, sees the video, and goes on a social media rant. How could Halsey do this to me? I'm contacting my
lawyers. Yeah, love it.
But then, as of today, and I think I sent you this, Chris, I think Britney is saying that her Twitter was hacked.
Oh, no.
Halsey did have approval, and then they just released like flattering statements about each other. I'm disappointed that this is all working out, mostly because I don't like Halsey.
I know, I don't really either. And so that's the thing. I want to be able to be like, death, like not really wish death upon her. That's
sorry to break this to you here. Like,
no, I'm disappointed that they're not fighting. However, I do want Britney to be, obviously, as we know, I pray for Britney every day. So I want healing for her, but I wanted her to have like swift justice. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's not that I want her to feud with someone, but I want her to like bring down the iron fist on someone.
Sure.
Like I wish she does with her parents and sister. Sure. So, and all this to say, like the song, it's not like a sample where you're like, oh, blah, blah, blah. And then you kind of like do a line from a song in the same vein of it. And it's like, oh yeah, call back to a song. The chorus is the exact same song.
Right.
Like she's so lucky, she's a star, but she cried. Like it is the exact same chorus. And it's not like she's so lucky, but it's hard and it's sad and it's hard and it's something. You know what I mean? It's like the exact same word for word chorus.
The song. Yeah.
Yeah. And okay, here's the thing. This is what happened. Britney gave Halsey the go ahead.
Yeah.
But Zila didn't know that happened.
We're entering this chapter.
So when Zila came about, like she was like, "What the fuck?" And then when Britney reared her head again, she was like, "No, what am I talking about?" Duh.
Right, because when Britney says she was hacked, she means by someone else living in her mind. You got it. And again, I just want to ask you for the 70th time: this is someone you do not feel needs to be in a conservatorship.
No, Dominick.
Got it. Okay. Sometimes I forget.
Don't make me pull a Wendy Williams on your ass, okay?
What, death to me? How dare you? Speaking of hey y'all, I believe last week we told you about Britney, who is fighting with someone different every week, which is fantastic.
I love that she's back. She went away for a minute. She was like at a spa. She was doing this. I love that she's like back in it, like getting in fights with people.
She is. She's in the mud now with all these people. She's happy to be famous again.
I know. I like it.
You know, Ozzy Osbourne on the Osbourne podcast last week said that he didn't like her dances. She came out and said they were the most boring family who's ever lived and kindly fuck off.
Slam.
The family just went like Jack and Kelly basically on the latest installment of the Osbourne podcast were like, can we just talk about how much we love Britney Spears? And Ozzy was like, I love Britney Spears. I love Britney Spears.
No, they know.
I just wanted to mix up the fucking dances once in a while.
No.
And so that's it.
They know that like the only people listening to their godforsaken podcast is like the Britney stans. Like all the people that were raised by Britney Spears were also raised by them. So it's like if the Britney army turns on you, like you're done for.
I will say this, and P.S. listeners, we also recently recorded a fix for the Osbournes, which is a super fun episode. Check your local listings for that in the coming weeks. Kelly Osbourne, while she was like scolding her dad, like we love Britney, looked like she was in a panic. Like she looked like she understood the gravity of the situation. It was just like,
she should. Listen, don't activate us, okay? We got that woman out of a conservatorship. We'll do way worse.
I have to tell you, I'm having an actual like IRL moment, epiphany right now that you think that one of her personalities hacked the other one, because this next Britney story, look at the next story on the fucking list. It is about someone listed Britney's house for sale on Zillow. And again, she was like, Chris, this is not why she needs to be hospitalized if this is the case.
Dominick,
she can't have one personality that is like actively campaigning against her first personality and live among us. I'm saying no. I don't want the stands coming after me, but I want clarification that all this hacking isn't coming from, this is not a call coming from within her own head.
Dominick,
much less the house.
Dominick, I know I'm making a joke about it, but that's what I really believe.
Okay, then she needs to be in a doctor's care.
She needs to really, she needs mental help. Period. Not
what should she do? A vacation?
Person.
She's on the beach every day saying, look at my ass, America. Every day she does this. She couldn't be more vacation. She needs medication.
I'm saying that I agree with you. I am saying I believe that she needs serious mental care.
Jesus.
I'm not one person in the army or on the prayer chain is going to argue that. What I am saying is that her deadbeat piece of shit father, sister, and mother should not be the people that are administering that care to her against her will.
You know what? Let us do it.
Yeah,
Let fixing
I'm ready.
famous people be the conservators for Britney Spears and watch what happens to her career.
I'm ready. Oh, God, she'll do so great.
Speaking of
wait. So she listed her house on Zillow and then was like, JK, I'm joking. I didn't even know about this.
She listed the house she lives in was listed on Zillow for $9 million. And she's like, hey, y'all, I didn't do that.
No,
that's
but
Dominick, that's my house, but I'm not selling it.
I'm being serious now. Okay, all jokes aside, like I'm serious. I like that is proof that like Zila takes over and then is like, I want to sell this piece of shit, and then calls up a photographer to like come take pictures of the house and like truly puts her house on the market. And then Britney takes back over and is like, what's happening? Like, I'm not being funny. I'm being like,
no, we are laughing at multiple personality disorder is what we're doing.
Like, I think that like now that you're saying this, like that's really proof.
Yes, it really is. God. Do you think, did we just crack this case on fixing famous people? Have we actually saved her?
Believe women, like prayers up for her. Please. Oh, P.S. I was having lunch with Chelsea Devantez and Yasser Lester this morning, and at noon, my phone went off while we were sitting at lunch. And I went, guys, please pray for Britney. And they both lost it. and Yasser goes, this is every day. I go, every single fucking day. I go,
he thinks it's a joke.
Prayers up. I was like, just a quick prayer up for Britney. That's all we need. And then we just continued on with lunch. And that was, please pray for her. That's all.
Speaking of possible resurgences, Robert Downey Jr., known as RDJ, I have to say, I watched this video from Comic-Con, and I am not as into comics and superhero movies as like, I like them a lot, but they're not my life. I got goosebumps when this happened based on the audience reacting to this new series of Avengers movies that starts coming out, I guess in 2025, the Doomsday series. And they announced who was playing Dr. Doom. He walked out in costume and then whipped his mask off. And it was Robert Downey Jr., who has rejoined the Marvel Universe as another character. This audience went so insane. It was like every one of them had won the lottery. I actually teared up watching all of these screaming geeky men.
Oh, I didn't even see this.
They were so happy that he was back in a Marvel movie. I truly had goosebumps watching it.
Stop.
He is Jesus Christ at Comic-Con, Robert Downey Jr. And I love to see it. I love him, period. That's it. I love him. And I'm glad that he's returning. It made me care now about these new Avengers movies when I probably didn't after the last ones. So kudos, Marvel. You've done it again. You've wet our willies. Is that a thing?
I mean, this is the thing. I hear what you're saying of like, oh my God, all these people were so excited. But everyone else on the internet is like, why the fuck? There's no more celebrities. They have to pick Robert Downey Jr., whose death is the culmination of the whole first like phase of the thing. Like, like they don't have anyone else that can just be a thing. But
I totally get where you saying that, and I'm surprised I didn't think that at first. But I just thought it was cool. Like, I'm the most negative person I know, and I didn't even think that.
It's weird to me because it's like I think this is a thing that's like the MCU is floundering. That's how I see it. I know that everyone's really excited. I get that the excitement. I get it. He's Robert Downey Jr. He just fucking won an Oscar. He's a beyond A-list celebrity. Like he carried the entire first like phase of this universe in his hands. Like I get it. But like weirdly, I'm like, wait, so then why? Like this doesn't make any sense to me of like why he would then be the person to. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't know.
And I'm honestly surprised that
it's almost like going back to basics. Like, oh, we have to have him because people will come watch it.
Like the way you're saying why is what I said when I heard Meryl Streep was joining Only Murders in the Building. I was just like, why? Like, why?
Sure.
And it's not even, it's barely congruent, but I'm just like, why? Like, I don't get it. But when he whipped that mask off, I went, oh, and I actually did make that noise, by the way.
Oh, I need to see it though, because that is fun. I love a good reveal. Fun. I love a reveal, which speaking of which, not to bring us back to the Olympics, but I swear to you, at one point in the opening ceremonies, there was that like Assassin's Creed guy that had like a hooded figure that's carrying the torch for a lot of it through all these interstitials. And at one point he gets on this mechanical horse, which you said was not Renee.
Right.
the horse
Renee,
from
Beyonce's horse from Renaissance. Right.
And like, he's on this like galloping horse through the Seine and then like carries the Olympic flag to like the guy who's like the one that's going to give the huge speech about the Olympics. Right. And I swear to you, for a good 15 minutes, I was like, this is Celine Dion. I was like, she's gonna hand over the flag and then like unmask herself and start singing.
Can you imagine?
I would pass away.
We watched her have a seizure right now 5 minutes ago, and you thought she was riding a horse.
It was Paris? A mechanical horse. She just had to sit there. She didn't have to do much. But I thought
it was very eyes wide shut when that hooded creature showed up. I'm like, how dark are we getting? I didn't know. I was like, do I take my pants off for this next section?
I thought for sure. I was like, that's Celine. And multiple friends were like, I thought that was Celine too.
I can't. You're deranged people. Never for a moment did I suspect
I'm sick.
that.
I'm a sick fuck. But wouldn't that have been amazing though?
Oh yeah. I mean, if we had produced it, it would have been better than what it was. It also would have all been in one room. I'm not traveling anywhere.
Yeah.
I want a set.
Sure.
That's set in a show.
Why I said it needed to be in a stadium. Anyway.
The Academy Awards. Heard of them? Here's some news this week. Both Jimmy Kimmel and John Mulaney were offered the hosting duties, and they both turned it down for the 2025 Academy Awards. So the search is on for who will ruin it now that the people who can handle it have turned it down.
Well, that's the thing that's so funny is like when this was sent to the group chat, I said like, it's as if like, you know, the fate of American cinema is like in the hands of like whoever's going to host the Oscars. And it's like, no, just like they'll find someone, like it's fine.
But I mean, while we're here, Chris and I are available.
Tech avail.
The spring. We will reschedule podcast recordings to host the Academy Awards.
Sure will.
Necessary. That's it. But other than us, I've been thinking about it all morning. Who should host the Academy Awards? Like, I know they want to do something so different. And every time they do that, it just blows. Like something is just wrong with that.
It needs to be a Jimmy Kimmel-esque. It needs to be someone that's not like going there to do like, who could it be?
Just not Seacrest, please.
Not Seacrest.
I don't have a Ryan Seacrest problem. I just don't want him to.
No, it's just not. It isn't Ryan Seacrest. It's not Ryan Seacrest, but like, who is it? Who is Ryan Seacrest adjacent that could do this?
It's going to be Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds.
Oh,
I'm calling that right now. It's going to be them.
Oh, it should be. It should be.
I love a duo. Good. I love a duo. I loved when Alec Baldwin and Steve Martin did it. Yeah. Absolutely killed it. And I think that they should do it. I think Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds should do it. You're welcome, Academy Awards.
Wow, Dominic, that's good. That's good.
Fix them in advance. So, yep. While we're talking about fixing things, let's do a lame segue and say someone who's unfixable would be Armie Hammer. Now, we've already talked about him doing this idiotic press tour, but here's the funniest part. This week, Armie Hammer's mom addresses his son's rape and morally wrong cannibalism claims. She is quoted as saying, he was not out eating people. I can't. Like, your mom have to go to the press and say, my son did not eat people. You've done it wrong. You've done life wrong. Armie's mother, Drew Hammer, is backing her son's assertion that he never raped anyone or engaged in cannibalism, despite several women claiming otherwise. Quote, I would never say that Armie did everything right because he didn't. Morally, he was wrong. But I do know my son was not out eating people. That I know. And Armie did not rape anybody. I knew that he was not morally right, but that was insanity. Way to split hairs, Mom. But you know what? My mother would probably do the same.
Same. I mean, obviously.
If my mother walked in on me eating somebody, she would tell Jesus Christ that she didn't see me that day. For real.
And again, like when your mom has to come to your defense, like yowza.
So, like, how does it get cringier?
And as
my mom just said I didn't eat anybody.
And as I said before, even if every single thing that happened was absolutely 100% consentable by 2 adult parties or more.
Yeah.
That does not equal I am an A-list actor that like middle America will like come to the movie theater to see when they find out that I'm like pissing in people's mouths that are in full leather at an S&M dungeon.
Oh,
know what I'm saying?
Even if that's what's happening, very vividly, I know what you're saying because you've described it as such.
But do you know what I'm saying? Of like, even if that's what it was, where it was like he's like a sexual freak that's just like always
that's okay
with a dominatrix, like that also is like not.
Just keep your teeth off my flesh.
Yeah, like no, but just like. That is not great either in the sense, even if it's all consensual and like not knocking anyone's anything, but like that's not A-list behavior, Hollywood. We are backing you with millions of dollars.
Correct.
Sorry. And guess what? You don't have to be an A-list actor. No one's promising you that. So
I have not seen this rage version of you in one prefix in quite some time. Between the Olympics and now Armie Hammer, you're like,
I'm fired up.
You are like spinning like a top right now.
Yeah.
Smuckers, the show is getting closer. Some more hints dropped this week about American River Orchard. It is a lifestyle show a la Martha Stewart. She was at some financing meetings or retreats in the Hamptons this week, and people who have seen the show said it is absolutely gorgeous. And all we know is that Megan appears on many of the episodes, but not all.
Oh, brother, I can't with this again.
This is the slowest rollout in history.
This is the thing. Remember whenever like they left Spotify and the guy at Spotify was like, thank God I'm not in business with them anymore. Remember that?
Right.
And then we found out that she didn't even interview the people on her podcast. The producer did. And then they put in her audio. Like this woman is a charlatan. I say what you want. And like, yes, has she been raked over the coals for no reason? Yes. Mm-hmm. However, like the follow-up to this has been like grifter behavior.
Right.
Every time we turn around, she's like promoting some new thing and then it's not real. This is like fucking Fire Festival at this point. She's not even in all the episodes. For what? Why?
I don't know.
Why? What else is she
she's
doing?
Getting ready for Suits LA for her big comeback. God damn it! Dare you call her a charlatan?
God.
She is the American dream, Christopher.
She is.
Meghan Markle is the best of us.
She is.
She married a prince and brought him back here. That's a boss move. I'm not just going to be a princess. I'm going to bring you back to my castle, you ginger freak. I don't know. I'm sure she's never called him that. I don't know why I'm insulting her like that.
We're both off the rails. No, I'm sorry. What is it going to be? Her just being like, yeah, jam is good. Like, and then shots of a tree. Like, I don't understand what it is. A lifestyle show for what?
It's her saying jam is good and then shot of a tree. We don't know. She's wedding you. We've now talked about it 11 times. We're marketing it for her. She is not a charlatan. She's a genius.
You're right. You're right. She's fooling us all, including us.
Stephen Baldwin responded on social media to Hailey Bieber saying on social media that she wasn't close with her family anymore because that's how famous people communicate with each other. They don't text. They just go onto X or Insta. Anyway, Stephen Baldwin just went on camera, smirked and said, I love you. And that was his response. No,
stop.
We assumed that he was talking to Hailey, but he was just like,
that's a stop.
Over it.
That's a full stop. Because he's not saying like, no, that's not true. He's just like, I love you. He's like, you know what I mean? That's a confirmation for me.
For our Gen X listeners, I have one story that will hit home for you. The beloved 80s sitcom Facts of Life. It turns out that there was supposed to be a reboot. This is a show I adored.
Yeah.
There was supposed to be a reboot because a couple of years back they did, like a Norman Lear, like an updated version. And Facts of Life was one of them, the many sitcoms. And what was it? Am I Joe Biden again? Once every prefix, I freeze. I don't know what it is because I'm trying to gather my thoughts. It turns out Mindy Cohn, who played Natalie, reveals that there was supposed to be a reboot. The 4 girls were all on board. They've been thick as thieves for 40 years, always like one for all for one. But then someone who Mindy Cohn described as a greedy bitch was apparently back channeling to get a spinoff and some other shit, like trying to take the reins for everyone else. And because of that, it fell apart.
Was it Tootie?
It was not, I don't think it was Tootie. Now, Mindy Cohn said it's obvious who it is if we go to her Instagram and we see who she's interacting with. The internet in general knows that it's not Nancy McKeon who played Jo, because she's barely shown up for half the shit since the show was canceled during the Civil War. So it's either Tootie or Blair. And I've heard people swear up and down for both of them. I think that it was Lisa Whelchel who played Blair. I think Lisa Whelchel might be the one who squelched this. I've been waiting all week to say that.
You said that just to say this.
I've been waiting all week to say that.
Oh, God.
And that's that.
I don't like that. I don't like a contractual thing, like not having something go through, you know?
Well, that's what happened here.
All right, we have to, Dominic, I must stop us.
We have to there are many other things to talk about, but we have to get into the fix, and we are fixing, and I am nervous about this, and Chris is making me fix Ryan Murphy with him.
Brother. Listen, he's calling Kim K. He's not coming to knock on your door anytime soon. Okay.
How dare you insinuate I'm not in the same category as
Kim Kardashian, the most famous person on the planet.
I was whorish as well. In the best way, don't write letters. We have several more stories that we don't have time to talk about in this week's prefix, so we are going to bunch them together and put them on Patreon this week. So if you'd like a little more prefix, head over to Patreon, sign up. There's a lot of fun shit on there, not the least of which will be us continuing to talk about this week's stories that we couldn't fit in this week's prefix, featuring such star-studded names as Will Smith, Chris Brown, and other criminals.
God. So if you are in the Stratosphere tier or the Long Island Iced Tea tier, get ready, because something's coming your way soon.
And right now, we will pause for these vital messages before we get into the fix.
All right, Dominic, we've got a big one.
I am waiting. We're all waiting for you to use the word behemoth here. So please.
A behemoth?
Yes.
And my tectonic plates have shifted again. Amy Phillips. I remember being in college watching The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, like with my roommates on the couch. And this like woman on Instagram, before this was even a thing, this woman comes onto Instagram doing impressions of Countess Luann, Bethany, Ramona, dressed up as them. And we were on the floor peeing our pants laughing.
Oh my God.
Since then, I have followed you, and everyone that watches Bravo knows who you are, obviously.
That is amazing.
She's
I'm so
the
glad I was
host.
part of your.
Yes. She's the host of Drama Darling. You remember her from Sirius XM, Radio Andy, and she's here. And I already am obsessed with you and love you. And you are probably going to file a restraining order against me after this is over. But Amy Phillips, welcome to the show.
Oh my God. I'm so happy to.
How about can you bill her properly, please? Folks, the woman who made Chris DeRosa gay, Amy Phillips, is here.
It's happened many times. I'm gonna pat my tears like I've seen on Love Island. This is what they do now. It's this.
Oh, I love that.
Oh, I love that.
With
With
the
the second
knuckles.
knuckle. Oh, I love that.
Yeah, the second knuckles, and they pat, pat, pat. It's taken over like the Candace from Potomac triangle. So do that. But I am emotionally. I did not coin that term. Whoever did, God bless you.
Yeah.
But I am so elated to be here with you two iconic human beings. And now I know where you live, and I will be finding you next time.
Sure. The stalking goes both ways. Is that what's happening? Yeah. You really did do all, like, now this is a whole thing that people do as a job, which is like do impressions on Instagram. Like, you started this.
Oh my God.
Are you aware of that? Like, do you not realize that? Because you did.
I did not think of it that way, and I think it would have happened anyway. But I'm just glad I was on the ground floor. You know what I mean? I'm
really
happy
were, though.
Thanks for saying that. That's such a nice, like, I don't know, badge. It's a nice Girl Scout badge to get today.
Do we have to wait to the end to coyly say, can we run through some of Chris's favorites? Are we allowed to do that? At the
I think we should. I mean, Luann was great.
Darling, thank you so much. I was just watching Instagram. I was watching my own Instagram, and I was kind of horrified at what I was doing, but I love myself so much. And I saw
that isn't
Bethany
even
the other day, and she
that's the thing is
used me.
It's like not even Luann really, but it is. Like it's not like, you know what I mean? It's like, it's hard for the New York girls because I've spent so much time with them that it's like, but it is your Luann. And like Bethany, your Bethany is amazing. Your Ramona. I have a good Ramona.
Okay. Let me hear your Ramona. Let's have Ramonas talking to each other. Okay.
Hi, my name is Ramona Singer. How are you?
You know what? This is Ramona Singer's voicemail calling Ramona Singer's voicemail. Just want to say, you're doing great. I love you so much. How are you? Okay.
You know what? And I support other women. And you know what? I'm glad that I'm talking to myself.
You know what? I'm glad we're happy in life. And I'm glad we're just out all the time, 24/7. Okay.
Yeah. And listen, I don't mean to be rude, but what I'm going to tell you right now is that you were talking when I was talking. Okay.
Okay. You know what? I was in the middle of a sentence before I even called your voicemail. Okay. So let me finish. All right. Okay.
It's amazing. And she is, and like truly in person, she is that. Like she is that 100%.
Yes.
Yeah. It's amazing. We brought you here to fix not anyone in Bravo, but the man himself, Ryan Murphy.
Peripheral of Bravo, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sure.
There's some cross sections there.
Yeah.
There's some
with the whole
cross-sections.
yes. Because he's everywhere. I mean, which may be part of his problem.
That is the problem,
right.
is that he's too many places and not focusing on one thing and focusing on too many, is my opinion.
And I will be on. I mean, Chris, we, as much as we can, try to let people know how we arrived at the names of the people we are fixing. And this was, I hope you don't mind me saying, but this was like fully Chris. And I cringed a little bit because I was genuinely like, will we be employable after we fix this person? So Chris, you should really be the one setting the stage, I think, for what, because Ryan Murphy is one of those people who does it. He's not an automatic, we need to fix him. Like he's just fine. So why do you want him here?
Someone wrote in, I always put up on our Instagram, like, who should be fixed next? And we let people write in. Someone wrote Ryan Murphy, and there's times when it just strikes me, and I'm like, that's a really good idea. So someone wrote in with him, and I feel that the problem is, it's a little bit of what we either do like, this person's in hot water, and they need like, this is Lizzo after the lawsuit, and we got to get her out of there.
Right.
Like, the ship's going down. Or it's like, this person was great, and now they're kind of nowhere, and like, we wish they would come back, like a Lindsay Lohan character. And I feel that he's kind of the mix of both, because I feel like, can he take a shit on the side of the street and say, I'm going to make a show about this, and someone will give him the money to do so? Yes. Is that a problem? Yes. Like, and are these shows, there's too many at once. Like, he used to have one show a year and it would knock our socks off.
Right.
And now I feel that almost there's too many things going on, and there's too many greenlit things, and he's juggling too many balls, and it's not just Glee that's a juggernaut that's like taking over the world. It's like all these different little ones, and none of them are as great as the ones back in the day, like Nip Tuck, which we will get into, one of my favorite shows of all time, or like American Horror Story seasons like 1 and 2 that were like incredible.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I'm interested in talking with you guys about when we thought the turn was made, because he was a wonderkin for such a long time. And it was like overnight, he went from wonderkin to this queen again. Like, you just couldn't, like, I'm trying to figure out when that happened. But before we discuss it, at the top of our broadcast, we always ask our special guest and Christopher to guess the middle name of the person we're trying to fix. The prize is just bragging rights. I will tell you that Ryan Murphy was born on November 9th of 1965 in Indianapolis, Indiana. Amy and Chris, what is your guess for Ryan Murphy's middle name?
I'm going to go real simple. I'm going to go real traditional, and I'm going to go straight into Michael.
That which happens to be Christopher DeRosa's middle name as well.
It does.
Oh.
I'm going to say James.
You are both going to kick yourselves when you hear that Ryan Murphy's obvious, only in hindsight, middle name is Patrick. Ryan Patrick Murphy.
Oh my God, of course. Oh,
the only thing more, only if his middle name was O'Ryan would it have been more Irish. Ryan O'Ryan Murphy.
I got too excited. Ryan O'Ryan.
O'Ryan. Brother.
So I had a good time doing the minimal research that we do before these broadcasts, and I'd forgotten about a ton of stuff. Like we were just talking about the Wonderkind years. I genuinely forgot that Ryan Murphy did popular and Nip Tuck. I completely had just erased them because he said so many achievements since then. Mm-hmm. The easiest thing to point to is obviously Glee. Like that's when Ryan Murphy became the Ryan Murphy that we're talking about today.
But before that, I will say during Nip Tuck, like I loved Nip Tuck. Like the first 3 seasons of Nip Tuck are like solid. Mm-hmm. And I think he walked away after the first 3 seasons and it kind of got kooky and turned into a soap opera, just like every show nowadays. Mm-hmm. But like it kind of got strange. But the first 3 seasons were so good. And it was like such a comment on aging and humanity. And like it was at that time when we had our Dexters and our Nurse Jackies and our shows after The Sopranos where everyone was chasing The Sopranos. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that, like golden age, our Breaking Bads and our that, like that was really, it was such a good show.
Mm-hmm. I was such a late bloomer to Ryan Murphy because I really didn't get into his stuff until Glee. And then after that, it was just like, you know, I was following everything. And to your point, to this day, I can't keep up. I simply can't.
We excitedly followed all of that, especially during Glee. I didn't realize that he directed 2 movies before I knew Ryan Murphy was Ryan Murphy, but he directed Running with Scissors, the Augustin Burroughs memoir that was in 2006. He also directed Eat, Pray, Love, which I did not know or realize until today.
What?
Yes. Yes.
Is this a prank?
I swear it's not. I swear it is not. He directed the 2010 film adaptation of Elizabeth Gilbert's memoir, Eat, Pray, Love.
Why would it? Wow. You would think that like Elizabeth Gilbert, who's now very famous, like Elizabeth Gilbert, Ryan Murphy, and Julia Roberts, you'd think that one of the 3 of them would like bring that up in any interview ever.
No.
Right? Like,
no.
Very
and also,
interesting.
why isn't Julia Roberts in any of his current stuff?
Well, I'm going to get the movie did well, but it was sort of like a critical, it wasn't well received. It did make a lot of money though. It made like $200 million at the box office, but
but it was like a rom-com. Like it was
yeah.
And quoted probably on a daily basis. Just the title itself.
Sure. Glee was like, I wasn't the prime age because I feel like high schoolers and middle schoolers were really the prime age for Glee. But Glee season 1 was definitely a show for adults. It turned into a show for kids in season 2.
Yes.
But like season 1 of Glee, in my opinion, is like still one of the, like it is so good.
Solid. It's
like,
so solid.
Solidly amazing. And then the thing that sucks is that they turned it into a money-making show for children. That was just happened to be on prime time, which was like annoying because it turned into, I mean, not to bring it to Bravo, but like Nene Leakes was like a character for 3 episodes for absolutely no reason. You know what I mean? Like it was like, and it went from being about these characters and it was a cultural phenomenon. Like I went to one of the concerts where they all showed up and sang the songs.
Glee season 1, astonishing. Season 2, phenomenal. And then I got lost. And again, to what you're saying, I was gone.
Yeah.
Glee was also a victim of being a pop culture behemoth. And it wasn't necessarily all Glee's fault. Like it just became so popular and kids fell in love with it so quickly. And it was just everywhere. And being honest, as a theater kid, myself at one point, this is an audience that with even like minor overexposure can get very, very annoying because we were annoying in high school, weren't we? And we knew it, but we liked being theater kids. And it was like it became like a very imitatable, you know, like the whole Glee, like it almost was its own style of television, which was why season 1 was so impactful. But then, you know, it became a little bit of a parody of itself and was parodied and imitated endlessly everywhere within like 2 years of premiering. It's funny because Ryan Murphy, like we said, went from like wonderkind to annoying. So did Glee. Like by season 3 or 4, it was like you were rolling your eyes because there was a certain type of person that still loved it in season 4. And you weren't those people. I mean, true to this day, which we will get to, like to this very day. I think really that Glee sort of turned when the disabled character Artie sang "Kaya's My Neck, My Back." I thought that was really
Dominick,
so inappropriate.
I was going to believe you. I'm like, I'm I believe it. Now I want to see it. Please let me see
Oh
it.
my God.
Oh, you lady, stop your pussy like this. I'm so sorry.
Do
we have to bleep that?
He will pull fast ones on you like this. So don't. Amy's dancing. She
Love
loves
that song.
That's the only song Dominic sang at my birthday party that was in a karaoke room last year.
Sweet. It's so sweet and meaningful. It's meaningful, you know?
Dominic,
how dare you? There was just this 7-year period or so from the end of the aughts into the teens where Ryan Murphy was it wasn't even that he was creating TV shows, he was creating franchise after franchise.
Yeah.
And we ate them up because the first few seasons of all of these things were really good. And they really were groundbreaking. Like American Horror Story was, I'm not the biggest fan of the first season, but I know for like canonical maniacs of that series, they like swear by that as the best one. I personally, as a homosexual, love Coven for a million obvious reasons, each of the reasons called Jessica Lange. But I also think it was great. I loved Coven. And I loved many I've even loved seasons of American Horror Story that people hate, like Roanoke, which I loved, the whole Sarah Paulson reality show based season they did. And a lot of people think that was the season when it turned, but I loved it. I really loved it. And then he started getting into, while he didn't create American Crime Story, his name is the one that's most closely associated with the People versus O.J. Simpson. And what's the other one? The Johnny Versace one with Darren Criss. And Monica Lewinsky was another one. And then Feud, Betty and Jones Feud was, I don't know. I think when you come out of the closet, you need to be taken to a room for 8 hours and forced to watch this just so you can get every reference in it.
But I will say the second season of Feud, the Capote versus the Swans, I really didn't like.
I didn't see it.
Once you get through the first couple episodes, it was like, why am I here? Like this, it happened. Like, okay.
The only thing I just kept waiting for was like, I just needed more of Jessica Lange coming back and having a conversation as the mother. I just needed more of that because again, we're all diehard Jessica Lange, but give her a monologue and the show's going to be a hit. But if you don't give her a monologue in an episode, it's already a fail. You know what I mean? Like, you need to give her more.
Like that's why
was she in this? Was she in the Capote Swans?
Yeah, she was.
This is the very first time ever.
It comes as a surprise, but it comes as a surprise. She's not a swan, so she's not in the marketing. Yeah.
Oh, that's now I'm gonna fucking watch it.
And it's like in his dreams and in his, she's appearing to him, and that really eerie scene when he's dancing with her on the dance floor was really cool. Yeah. But every time she comes in, and forgive me, I can't. My Jessica Lange is my Jessica Lange, so don't judge too harshly. But she's just always coming in. She's like, "Whoa, well, true." You shouldn't have done that. Now, well, I mean, it's just pretty much that, and then like the drink and the cigarette. It's like,
I can't move. I wish you all could see Amy's face doing it because it makes it a million times better.
But like, I live and die for it, and there was something ghostly and just lovely about it. But the shaking. Writing of it was tricky, as you were saying, Chris. Like, it didn't. That was hard.
And this is the problem, is that it's like, oh no, you have us. Like the photo shoot that they did with them with being the swans that was in the black when they all have like really white skin. Yes. Like that's our fucking pornography. Like we're beating off to that. Yeah, like, you know 100%. What I mean? You have us, we're ready.
Yeah.
But then that's the thing. And for who the women are that are actually playing these women is like, again, it's like a wet dream for us. Like we're there.
Yeah.
But then to fumble the ball in the story department sucks. And that I feel is what he kind of is now. And it's sad because it's like, oh, look, American Horror Story, Kim Kardashian's in it just to get ratings. I think that's
why we're here too. Because you talked about this for weeks about like, I think you, Chris, were personally offended that such a brilliant topic was fucked up and that you blame him because it was good. By the way, while we're on the subject of Jessica Lange, if you ever want to know why people love Jessica Lange, just Google the 10-second clip of her awarding the Academy Award to Sean Penn when she just stands up there and goes, Sean Penn, dead man walking. And it's better, like her saying those 5 words is better than all of Sean Penn's performance in the actual film. But to see my horrific impersonation come to life,
in front of Amy,
in front of me,
no, but I felt it. No, not at all. I felt it.
Yes, at all.
Yes, at all. Yes, at all. Amy, how dare you? Have respect for yourself.
I have respect for Jessica Lange, and
respect for yourself.
You brought me back to that memory of. I remember seeing that. Like I haven't seen that in 25,
something like
30
that.
years.
Yeah, it's been nuts.
So, and I now have been brought, and I'm going to go back and watch it.
Woken. It's just about the last word. Shaman, Jim Woken. But I'm gonna watch it back, and she probably doesn't sound anything like that.
The woo
I'm
is
doing shit.
beyond.
I'm doing shit.
Amy, the woo is beyond.
It is a little share.
It is her. She's always like getting hooch. She's always like just took the bottle of hooch, and she's like could be doing like swinging the bottle around and hitting someone with it. Yeah.
And then she's always like, I'm gonna bring it down to a whisper. She's always gonna, well, she's up here, and then she's down here. You know, it's always gonna go, and anyway.
Dominic's gonna spontaneously combust if you keep doing this.
I mean, I bathe in Jessica Lange as often as possible. Like I could just, this Lillian Hall movie on Max is like, I'm watching it.
Outsourcing the writing is the question. That's where I don't know. Like what's happening with that?
This is what I think. I think there's too many things going on at one time. And I think that he's spread thin. Because like when it was just Glee for when it was great. But then American Horror Story came out and then it was both of them. And then Glee went down the shitter. And also Fox was like, we want to make $9 million off of this an episode. So make it be for kids. Yeah. And they were like, okay. You know what I mean?
Make 100 so we can get some syndication. And
And like we want to, we have to grasp every penny of this that we can because it's now a sensation with children. So do that. And he was like, okay. Which I don't blame him for. It is what it
absolutely.
Is.
I'd do it.
Okay, do we remember a show? This is where I really turned with him and I'd stopped. I didn't have faith in him anymore. Do we remember the Netflix show Hollywood?
Yeah.
That was
not fondly, I might add.
Yeah, it was. They built that up to be, and it was shot beautifully, and all the sets were gorgeous, and all the people in it were gorgeous, and all of the, you know what I mean? It was everyone that you wanted in a show. And it was like a reimagining if Rock Hudson could be out and gay in the world. And if they would have had, like, what's the woman's name that won for, is it Hattie McDaniels? Am I making that up?
For Gone with the Wind.
For Gone with the Wind.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Yes.
Hattie McDaniel.
It's like she couldn't win her Oscar, so then this other woman of color wins an Oscar. It's a reimagining of like, what if we could break down these barriers way earlier in Hollywood kind of a thing, which in theory is really good. It just like wasn't that great of a show.
Okay, gotcha.
It just like, it was a lot of like, where is this going and what is this? And you kind of don't realize that's
like
what it is until that.
With Swans a little bit?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not even so much that. It's like, Swans was like front loaded great. And then you get to the end and you're like, what is this? Like, whereas this was like at the beginning, you're like, oh, this is going somewhere. And then I'm like, is it going somewhere? And it was like, they spent a lot of money on it. They had all these good people in it, but and then they had all these like people that were going to become these big stars in it. And they kind of just didn't.
Oh,
and it just wasn't that great. And he's done way better things.
And by the way, you're also describing, in describing this project, you're describing The Politician as well. Yes. The one with Gwyneth Paltrow and the one with Goop and Ben Platt.
Yeah.
And that the same
it's
thing
me,
happened.
Gwenny. Thanks for introducing me.
Stop.
I roll. My husband, my boyfriend, Brad Volchuk, is very involved with who you're talking about. So I'm going to be cool and like not get involved with this conversation, but like step the fuck off. Okay. All right. Carry on. I roll.
Amy, I can't. We're going to be riding on that for weeks.
All my random impressions get to work themselves into this show today. That's again, I remember watching like 8 episodes and then not continuing.
Right. And then we're like, wait, Judith Light's going to be in there? Wait, Bette Midler? What's happening? And then that's what happens
Patty
with him.
LuPone
and
in it too? It's like, you're like, every Broadway actor's in this? What's happening?
Patty LuPone was in Hollywood. She was just playing like a whore.
Some woman that got her she was like spreading her legs. You're right. That's what it was. Patty LuPone was like, she's like, you want a job in Hollywood? Like, come eat me out. Like,
that's like this old lady pussy. That was basically
literally.
It was like literally older Mrs. Roper, basically.
Yeah, it was. And again, like that's funny, but then it's like, okay, but like, all right, okay, and like, what's happening?
Yeah,
it just, what sucks about it is I wonder how much of it is him and how much of it is like these studios being like, we want a Ryan Murphy production, and so like, Patti LuPone's gonna get eaten out, blah, and he's like, what? And then like, you don't know.
As we're talking about all this and I'm looking at his list of projects, I remember my exact moment where my eye was fully rolled over was when American Horror Story then started branching out into something called American Horror Stories, which was like a separate short form, non-anthological or some moment separate from the original AHS. And I'm like, this is like, it's like a parody of what you shouldn't do. It was like something you'd see on 30 Rock. You know what I mean? Where there would be like, it's like the girly show and then an offshoot called the girlier show. Like it's not, it just didn't make sense. You know, I was like, I couldn't follow it. And at the time I was a fan of American Horror Stories and I really just couldn't wrap my head around where am I going to find this new series? Why is it separate? What is happening? Like,
I remember that too.
And I feel that there's times when I feel the casting of it where I'm like, oh, he wanted to work with this person, so he just put them in. Like, again, where we're barreling towards this Kim Kardashian. Right. You know what I mean? Like, he's like, I want to work with Patti LuPone, so she's going to like get eaten out on this thing. And of course, Patti LuPone's like, I'll do that. Like,
I want to refer to Patricia LuPone's vagina one more time. Yeah. I'm going to, I'm going to laugh. That's all I'm
but he's like, I want to work with this like hot up and coming actor, wink, wink. You know what I mean? So like, you'll be the star. Like, I want to work with this, you know, who else? I want to work with Ben Platt because he's really cool and I like him. Like, boom.
Which, by the way, I would do if I was in charge of stuff too.
Sure. But it's so much that.
So much.
It's all that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like he's like moments away from like casting Gypsy Rose Blanchard and Stormy Daniels as feud to Betty and Joe. Again.
I'm listening.
No, we're there. We're there. No,
Amy's taking her top off, listeners. This is not even uncomfortable, to be honest with you. She looks great.
It's hard because it's like he has so many good things, but all three of us are agreeing that it's like we also are annoyed. And it's like the trust is broken.
Because you want to like, as your guest on the show, am I allowed to like, can I just?
Yes, whatever you're about to do. Yes.
Whatever you want.
Take your
You've
top
already
off
removed
more,
your shirt. I mean, I don't know what more. What are you even asking for?
Cha. But like you want, it's like he's spread thinly. We all know that. And so it's like you're having all these kids, you know, which is great. We want you to populate this earth because we want more like talent. We want more Ryan Murphy talent to be spread throughout this world. But like, who's going to care for these kids? Now they're running amok. So like, we have to close the loop on some of these projects and make sure that they're delivered in a way that still is who he is. Because it's, you know, we find his work to be sacred. And now it seems like people are almost just using him for his name and the concept. And then they're just they're putting them out to pasture. And it's like someone who, like a bunch of people with ADD can't see it through.
Well, and I think it's almost like he's getting them off the ground. And then it's like, okay, I'm now going to my next thing. Right. And it's like, well, now you're not here. And so we're going to do this, I think. And then they just do it. You know what I mean?
That's why these overall deals are so often bullshit, because that's what they become. It just becomes, you're running part of this company. You're not really the artistic director. You're just going to make the decisions for us because you did them so well on this other project. And it's different. Show running and writing is different than running a department. You know what I mean? It's sort of like being the funniest person in your group of friends doesn't mean you can be a stand-up comic. It's not. The two things aren't together. So he deluded himself even further with that. It was Netflix, right? That he had the overall deal with, and it sort of diluted his brand more to me.
And I'm not like clamoring for for the Swans. I was, because again, we're the target audience of freaks that want it. You know what I mean? Right. But like on the Kardashians, which I popped in on to like see for something else. I can't remember why I was watching it, but then I was watching it for something. And then, I was watching it for whenever Chloe calls Rob and is like, will you give? And
he says,
your sperm? And he goes, I can't fuck anymore.
I can't.
But in the preview for that episode, like, coming up is like Ryan Murphy and her sitting down to see if like Kim wants to do this other show where she's a high-powered lawyer. And it's like, why are you doing this?
God, see, that's bad.
Didn't he do that when Nene was on The New Normal, the sitcom? Weren't there Atlanta crossovers with that as well?
Yes.
Like I remember at the time them talking about the early stages of it.
And she was weird. Like, I'm leaving. Well, she was like, I'm leaving the show because I'm going to be be an actor now.
That's right.
Like, she was like, Ryan Murphy likes me. I was on Glee, like, fuck all of you. And like left for a long time.
By the way, Nene Leakes' Instagram seems like it's being presented in reverse order chronologically because every time she posts, it is like she's turning into Naomi Campbell from like 1988. Like, it's so weird. That's the person who you want to know the team, quote unquote. That's the one to call. Like, how are you doing?
Let's get off of Ryan Murphy. Let's go into,
She's like on at the day she married David Bowie. Like, it's bizarre. She does not look like Nene Leakes anymore. It's insane. Sorry, go on.
Nene on Atlanta, she agreed to finally like shoot with them, I think, one season. And she was in LA and she was like renting this house and she agreed to have them all over. And they were like an hour and a half late, which is completely normal for any housewives dinner, for everyone to be that late.
Mm-hmm.
And she threw them out. She wouldn't allow them inside. And she was like, forget it. You're not coming in. And I was like, this isn't the Nene that we know and love. Like, she has an ego. Now she is like, she thinks she's going to be this huge star, which, I watched her on The New Normal. That's great, but anybody could have done that.
Yeah, but that show didn't even it barely made it one season. Yep. Like no one. It was supposed to be the rival of Modern Family, which was like at the time the biggest show in the country. Right. It was winning awards every year, so it was like it was an NBC show it made one season, if that.
And that was a full Ryan Murphy production too. Like, he created it, he directed it, he wrote it, and he produced it. Because with a lot of his projects, he doesn't do all four of those things. But with this one, this was definitely a baby of his for sure.
And he gave her a chance. And that's huge. Like, the fact that he gives people chances like this out of the blue is amazing. Taking reality people, and just like the Swans, you look at these ladies and it's, the parallels of the Housewives are all over it,
Oh, sure. Yes.
And so, his love for that and groups of women and things like that. So to have him take Nene out of Atlanta and then put her as a star on this show, what a huge risk. And I don't remember her doing that great of a job, which is unfortunate because it could have made her into a big star.
Yeah.
I think she was just underused. I thought you would think that he was going to milk her for all the Nene that he possibly could. And my memories of it were, yes, she was just fine, but I think she was only given fine stuff to work with,
But again, it was like stunt casting because then we all would watch it because Nene's on it. When I normally wouldn't watch this like wannabe Modern Family show, like I was then watching it because it was Nene. And we were like, oh my God, Nene's going to try to act like that's hilarious. Let's watch it. Like, of course, right?
You normally want to watch it? Is that what you meant?
Is the Kim show out right now or no?
No, it was just announced this week. And what Chris and I were talking about last week was when we got the email from the Hollywood Reporter, it's not in the headline, or when you open the email, it's a picture of Halle Berry and Glenn Close. And then you open up the article and it's almost like buried in there. Like, Kim Kardashian will also be appearing in a lead role. And then it's just like, moved to trash.
Oh my God.
I'm still going to watch it, obviously, but sort of like you feel like you're getting like an actor's showcase, and then he just throws someone in there that just doesn't. There are so many actors.
And sometimes
who
it
could
works.
take that job, and it's like Halle Berry and Glenn Close isn't enough of stunt casting for real.
Yeah, like for
a 53-year-old gay man that's like putting Jesus and Mary in a production of On Golden Pond. You know what I mean?
On Golden Pond. Oh my God! Thank you for making a
Always
reference
my
to
go-to.
On Golden Pond.
That's his go-to. Oh, we talk about On Golden Pond every episode on this podcast.
And then after that, 8 hours ago, FX's first installment of a new limited series, American Sports Story, Aaron Hernandez. Did you know about that?
I did see that. I heard about that today. Yep.
It's like Gremlins. They fed him he's coming out with a show every 6 hours. It's crazy.
That's really true.
And like, I really don't need to see another thing of Aaron Hernandez. Like, that story is so sad and horrible. Yeah. Like, I really don't need to see it.
But the love boat thing has me a little interested.
Oh, the boat thing is fun.
The boat thing is cool.
Our friend Rebecca is like watches every ABC show. Like, she still watches cable all the time, so she'll have a full report for us.
Good. Nice. Nice, Rebecca.
getting back to the 911, which is also not, there are many 911s. There's like a 911 Lone Star.
It's a whole franchise in its own.
From what I understand, it started out as like many of these things, it started out gritty and realistic and then just became like Angela Bassett diffusing a nuclear bomb at Chick-fil-A or something. You know what I mean? It's just like, how dare you put her in the show?
You just brought me in.
Yeah, everyone that talks about it.
Watch it.
No.
Sorry, this podcast is going in the wrong direction.
Apparently, people are like, she's the only cop in LA. Like, she's the only person that's doing it. Like, she does everything. Like, she's like...
And just like Olivia Benson, she is like 20 years older than the oldest person actually doing that job in real life. Like, no one's boots on the ground at 60 like that. Nobody.
Despite how good they look. Both of them.
But they look better than people who are 30, but it's still just like fully made up. Fully AARP, fully running down a street, pulling guns on criminals. Like, this is not how it works.
Bomb at Chick-fil-A.
That was really funny.
Well, wasn't there something recently about like a cruise ship was blowing up and the whole staff of the show was on it? It was like, what?
Yes. It's getting to like Grey's Anatomy level of like the plane crash and the shooter in the hospital and the, you know what I mean?
When I call 911, it's like there's a jet ski stalled in the Hudson River outside my window, and I think you need to go over there. That's like the most, or my neighbor is making way too much noise with her heels. These are 911 calls. Nothing about bomb
I didn't
diffusion.
have to watch so many Bravo shows and Peacock shows. I mean, I would rip through all of these, you know?
I like watching them double time. All right, I think we're at our moment. I think it's time to get into the fix. And Chris, by his own formatting, goes first. Maybe in season 3, we should change that around. I wonder how that would affect things. I mean, I love you going first.
I know you do.
Give you more time, tweak your...
Because I just rip off half of your idea and inject it.
I'll be like, you could do this, but also here's the better version of it. Chris workshopped half of,
repackaged, reboxed.
Which is fine. And it is what it is. You know, we love the competition friendly. Okay. Ryan Murphy. Now, Amy, what I think you think I'm going to say is like a Housewives drama series that is like elevated and crazy and amazing and like everything that we want. And it's like the Swans, but it's Housewives and it's like behind the scenes of them filming the show. Like, which I don't hate.
Okay.
But every time they've ever done it, it's been bad. Anytime they've ever tried to do a parody of a Housewives, it's always been too much of a parody. And I don't like it. And they'd either have to hire us to do it, like be consultants and make it good, or not. I'm not doing that. What I'm doing, Ryan Murphy's going to have a show and it's going to be called Revolving Doors. And it's going to be the biggest thing. And you're not going to know any of the people that is in this show for once. Ryan Murphy's going to have a show called Revolving Door. Like here's the Hollywood Reporter article or the Variety email you're getting, Dominic. Ryan Murphy new show, like cast secret Revolving Doors. Ryan Murphy is making a show and he's not telling anyone what the cast is and what it is about. It is going to be a complete surprise, blah, 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 no press. Like the most press because we have no idea what it is. It will be a hit, blah, blah, blah. It's going to be a smash, like blah, blah, blah. We don't know anything about it. This show starts and regardless of what it is about, it is truly a revolving door of every celebrity stunt cast that he's ever had on a show. And like, it is soap opera levels of like a person is just replaced with a different person and is that same character. They don't have a body swap. It's not a twin. It's just truly like Jessica Lange is like maybe the first person that comes to the door and then straight up like Connie Britton plays her 3 episodes later. Like it's the same character.
It's the same character. Just
the most crazy shit you've ever seen. And I don't even need to pitch what the show is about. It could be about anything. What the show is about could be a revolving door. And I want him to comment on how fucking crazy the revolving door of his shows are. And it's just this soap opera-esque show that just is like, every fucking celebrity you've ever seen in your life coming through the door. And so he's finally at the end of it, at the end of like season 1 and is like, enough. He comes through the door and is like, I'm done. And then we don't hear from him for 5 years. Like he walks away from everything that he's doing. I mean, he's still making money on it, but he's like, I'm done. Yeah. And he goes into like, not on Golden Pond, but what is like the Henry David Thoreau, like,
Walden Pond?
Walden Pond, yeah. He was like, I knew it was something. Like a wall. Like he goes in a shack on a lake and is like, I'm going to write the best thing I've ever made.
Like Paul Sheldon from Misery, basically.
Sure. Yes. I'm going to go write like my magnum opus that you thought was Glee and or American Horror Story, but it's really whatever the show is going to be. And he writes like all 6 seasons of it in that 5-year span. So there's like no outside anything. It is just a good, well-made story of a show that is not about stunt casting or trends or getting the TikTokers to come watch the show or God knows what. He releases it, wins every award possible, and then is just like, okay, I'm done.
Then disappears.
Yes. That is my pitch.
Solid.
Thank you.
Ryan Patrick Murphy. RPM, as it were.
RPM, the name of the karaoke place that Dominick sang My Neck, My Back by Kia.
That place is called RPM?
It sure is.
Hilarious. I did sing it twice that night, didn't I?
You did, yes.
Twice.
Yeah, I refuse to sing anything else in public.
Okay.
Ryan Murphy. The thing is sort of like you want him to stop cranking out the stuff he's cranking out, but you still have respect for the material he's brought forward, even if it's not what you like. I feel like my pitch is a little boring this week, but I will say he is obviously a person who, when he snaps his fingers, he could just say, we're going to watch Patti LuPone take dumps on English muffins and we're going to make it a 12-part series. And someone somewhere will be like, that's fine. Side note, I would binge that probably every morning before starting my day, to be honest with you.
Fair.
And I'm not even like a scat queen, but I would watch Patti LuPone take dumps on breakfast breads.
Queen.
But not get eaten out, apparently. You're like over that.
Well, there's a limit. Well, look, surprise, I'm a little more into buttholes than the front part. So we do have a lot of projects of his that are real touchstones, like Theater Kids, Serial Murderers, the 80s gay scene when AIDS took over the queer and ballroom community. I'm going down this list. There's so much that he has fictionalized that I think he needs to, much in the way that Taylor's version has redone all of her old.
Oh my God.
I think he needs to switch. Don't do anything fictionalized. And just, since you can get the shit done, become the best documentary filmmaker who's ever lived and start with your own projects. Do a great version of the pressure of being a theater kid. These are some things that where documentaries have been done before about them, like Jeffrey Dahmer, because he did that. He was involved in the Dahmer, the Niecy Nash one, right? Mm-hmm. The 2016 election, that was an American Horror Story. Witchcraft in New Orleans, like for Coven. Like these are all like hot button topics that he's fictionalized. And I think that he could do his legacy and the world a service by just taking his formula and making documentaries instead of fictionalize them. He can get literally anything done that he wants. So do this, like do the real stuff. Like you've already made your point that you can take any moment of pop culture and just very quickly make it into a series, but do like the on the record version, because almost everything he's done, even that's based on real stuff, is admittedly fictionalized, and they're always honest about what parts have been condensed or made up for a narrative. But I don't know. I just think that if he's going to rebrand himself, I feel like that's the way to do it. I was leaning toward him doing theater stuff, but I backed away from it because he would fall into the stunt casting aspect.
You so desperately wanted to say he's going to cast the new thing of On Golden Pond.
I really did.
I thought that's what it was going to be. It was like, it's the stunt cast version of On Golden Pond.
Patti LuPone and Kim Kardashian in On Golden Pond.
Patti would never show up to that.
She definitely wouldn't.
She wouldn't.
So that's my pitch. He's just sort of like rebrands the Ryan Murphy Empire as documentaries, starting with the material he's already fictionalized.
Yeah, wow.
And that's my pitch.
I mean, think of like a Cheer, but it's Glee Club. Like the DCC, the Dallas Cowboy Cheerleaders, but it's a Glee Club.
And again, some of this stuff has been done before, but there's so much drama attached to it that I think that if he didn't do it himself, he would find the best team to do it and put his sort of sheen on it. Amy, the balls are in your court. Who's that?
It's a lot to digest. Let me take a sip of my whiskey. Now,
you have no idea Chris, what you have done today.
Wants a madman in the woods to come up with a masterpiece. Revolving doors. actors coming in and leaving.
You sound exactly
exactly like her.
It's a good idea.
I'm deliberately leaving my eyes closed, hoping that you never stop, and that I feel like Jessica Lange is actually here.
What's documentary style? Stories to be told again and again. Going back to the greatest hits, Ryan Murphy's work.
Jesus Christ.
Realistic indeed. Interesting. We already have a Ken Burns. The award goes to Dead Man Walking. Chris DeRosa.
I'm giving you a standing ovation.
That was wonderful.
Oh my God.
That was wonderful.
In all seriousness, I do love the documentary idea.
No, he really.
But I do want him to go away. And that's the most exciting. I want him to come back
with something that's like rattling us.
Yes.
Like, what we thought we were getting with the Swan.
Yeah. But to go in a different direction entirely and be like a cutting edge documentarian is a sick idea.
No, that would actually, I feel that he would more do that actually, because he wants to like take over the whole world.
He's not going to go away for 5 years in the woods. But
like,
I mean, Chris, if you're disagreeing with our expert, I'm happy for you to forfeit the win.
I'm taking the win. But no, like if he was like doing a documentary, like that's new. You know what I mean? That's buzz.
Mm-hmm.
Unlike the Glee project, like a real documentary.
Sure. No, not the Glee
Something
project.
a little Ken Burns-y.
Oh my God, don't even get me started on the Glee project. Like we didn't even get there. That was like torture. Oh, wow. Oh my God, Amy, I'm breathless.
Blast.
And my face hurts from laughing so hard. This has been
to you guys.
Literally stratospheric.
The last 5 minutes have been such a whirlwind. I'm going to have to listen back to it the moment we're done. Because Jessica Lange was on this podcast.
Yeah, she sure was. Featuring Jessica Lange is what I should put on the
Thanks
thing.
for letting me just unleash a Jessica. I never really
get to sit here for 45
much.
minutes. You could do it, honestly.
Great. Good. Thank you so much.
Dear God in heaven. Amy Phillips. Thank you. I mean, I don't even know what to say.
Thanks for having me on.
This is the best. Thank you, seriously. For the two people that don't know who you are that listen to this podcast, where can people find you?
Hi, guys. You can find me at
who are you two
anywhere you listen to podcasts, Drama Darling. And I put out episodes Tuesdays and Thursdays. I cover all of the Bravo shows, Peacock shows. Right now I'm doing Love Island in the deficit of the Bravo shows. I also get into some true crime stuff, blah, 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 blah. And then I have a Patreon where because I do a show every single day. So Tuesday and Thursday are free. And then over on Patreon, all the other stuff is there.
Thank you so much.
And Meet Amy Phillips is my Instagram.
Dominick, where can people find you?
My website's domentary.com. The socials are at Dominick Pupa, or of course, at Fixing Famous People. Christopher, Michael DeRosa, where can our whirlwind of listeners find you on the World Wide Web?
You can find me at the Chris DeRosa. You can find the show at Fixing Famous People, and you can find the Patreon at patreon.com/Fixing Famous People. Amy, I usually tell everyone that I wish you both well, but I feel that since we have Gwyneth herself here, I think we need her to hear her say it.
I wish you both well. I don't remember how she said it. Is that how she said it?
She whispered. We don't know. Unclear.
Okay.
Only that man heard it.
Dear God in heaven, dream upon dreams. I love you both. And where's Shelley? Goodbye.